What's up, guys? Tuki here, back again, and you know what time it is. The Stanley Cup Playoffs are on the horizon, which means it's time for bracket challenges and simulations, NHL 18-based simulations, and I'm as stereotypical as it gets on YouTube, so we're doing both. Alongside this upload is my bracket prediction. You can check out that video as well as join my league. I made a league, so feel free to enter that, and that way you can all lose to me and I can feel better about myself. However, this is really mainly a side effect of me putting as much work into the roster editing as I did. I figured, well, hell, if I'm gonna update the rosters, we might as well put the bracket in the NHL and see what happens, and we have done exactly that. All of the matchups are here. On top of that, using Daily Face-Off, I have put together as accurate of a set of lines, that the accurate team lines, basically, is what I'm saying. So all of that is basically accurate. It is factoring in whether or not someone's injured, like Ryan Suter from Minnesota. It's factoring in all of that. Someone who's kind of borderline, who should be back for the playoffs, like Jacob Trouba, or if Toby Enstrom, for Winnipeg example, is missing game one, he's still got to be in the lineup, but he's a little bit banged up. So we've tried to make this as accurate as possible. So, of course, using the updated rosters, that you can check out the video I made on that. It's the 2-hour editing extravaganza as far as all the changes we've made, and, of course, changes have been made since. But factoring in all of that, having all the lines accurate, it is time. It is playoff mode. I know my pick for Stanley Cup champion. The question is, who is EA going to pick? What does NHL 18 have to say about this? Let's find out, and we start in the Western Conference. The number 1 seed, President's Trophy winning Nashville Predators go up against Colorado in Game 1. The first period is scoreless. The second period is scoreless. And in the third period, the Preds take it. Landeskog gets the opening goal. Austin Watson scores to tie it with 1:30 to go. And then just under a minute later, 47 seconds left in regulation, Philip Forsberg wins it. Bernier gets beat from the outside twice. And the Preds take Game 1. Your first star was Pekka Rinne, Bernier, and Philip Forsberg. In total are your 3 stars. We move on to our second series. It's the LA Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's do this. The Vegas Golden Knights making their postseason debut. Can their magic run continue against a very experienced LA team? First period is scoreless. The second period is not. Tobias Rieder gets the goal on Fleury. The Kings have the 1-0 lead, and the third period, the score stays the same. The LA Kings get the shutout in Game 1. Jonathan Quick getting the job done. 28 saves. Fleury was still the first star of the game, however. Tobias Rieder with the GWG. We move over to the Eastern Conference. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New Jersey Devils. Let's go. Let's do this. Can the Devils score an upset in Game 1? First period, Andre Palat gets the opening goal of this series. He does score on Corey Schneider. I did make sure that Keith Kincaid was the guy, but I guess just by default, EA puts him back in. So what are you going to do? There is a chance Corey Schneider could be the starter. The second period here is scoreless. And in the third period, the Devils, the New Jersey Devils, with 2 consecutive goals. Patrick Maroon ties it. Taylor Hall, because of course he did, gets the game-winning goal, and the Devils score the upset in Game 1. 2-1 final. New Jersey gets the win, upsetting Tampa on the road. Taylor Hall, one of the favorites for the Hart Trophy this year, gets that winning goal. We move on to Game 1 between Columbus and the Washington Capitals. Let's go. Can Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals make it past a very tough challenge in round 1 to hopefully eventually make it past the second round? We'll find out, but they have a challenge in front of them before they get to that point. First period here of Game 1, Ian Cole with the opening goal of this series. Second period, oh my God. Nicholas Backstrom and Andrei Burakovsky give the Caps the lead. Josh Anderson ties it, only for Kuznetsov to get another goal. Or not another goal, but to get another goal for the Caps. It's 3-2 at the end of the second period, our highest scoring game yet. Third period, who will walk away with the win in game one? And we are going to overtime. Cam Atkinson and Matt Calvert give the Blue Jackets the lead with 48 seconds to go. Nicholas Backstrom ties it and forces overtime. Let's see what happens here. Do we want to sim this live? I guess so, because it's not going to last that long. Josh Anderson with the goal, 54 seconds into overtime. His second goal of the game, and he wins it for the Blue Jackets. We have another road victory in a series. Backstrom with 3 points was your first star of the game. But Anderson, my man of the match. He would be my first star of the game with those 2 goals, including the overtime winner. Minnesota and Winnipeg are up next. The Jets clear favorites. We'll see what the Wild can do, especially without Ryan Suter. First period is not scoreless. Brandon Tanev with a goal. Dustin Byfuglien scored as well. Jason Zucker gets a goal back. It's 2-1 Winnipeg. Second period is scoreless, and the third period here of game one, Tyler Myers gets an empty netter to secure the win. 3-1 final for the Jets. They get a win in the postseason. Connor Hellebuck, 36 saves, and Winnipeg takes the lead. Our last Western Conference game one. That's really the way to phrase it. Don't know why I committed to simming it this way, but screw it. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see every goal. San Jose and Anaheim. Let's do this. Can the Sharks pull off a road victory here? First period of game one, Corey Perry gets the opening goal of this series. Second period is scoreless, and the third period is not. Evander Kane ties it, but Hampus Lindholm, with 4:41 remaining in regulation, gets the goal that ends up being the game winner. 40 shots to 19 in favor of the Ducks, and they walk away with the victory in game one. Martin Jones was your first star, keeping the Sharks in that game somehow, some way. We get to the series that I have the most interest in, Toronto and Boston. Game one at TD Garden. Let's see how this goes down. First period of this game one, and the Bruins get off to an unreal start. David Pastrnak, Ryan Donato, and Brian Gianna. 3 goals in about 5 minutes, and that is a hell of a way to start for the Bruins. 3 goals on 7 shots. Second period is scoreless, and the third period is not. Torrey Krug and Jake DeBrusk add 2 more, and the Bruins make a statement. You have no idea how happy I'd be to see this happen in real life. 5-0 final in game one. The Bruins defend home ice. Torrey Krug with a 4-point night. Tuukka Rask with the 26 save shutout. And the Bruins walk away with the victory, and that brings us to our final game one between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I said, of course, the series I was most interested in is Boston and Toronto. Who isn't looking forward to this series? It's going to be unbelievable. First period of game one, and the Penguins get the early lead. Phil Kessel with the goal. Second period, Phil Kessel with another goal. It's now a 2-0 lead for the Pens heading in to the third period, where it is scoreless. So the Penguins win game one by the score of 2-0. The 32 save shutout for Matt Murray. Phil Kessel with the 2 goals. Brian Elliott, strong performance, but no offense from the Flyers in that game. I do want to take a quick look here at the player stats, and we are good. I was a little bit paranoid as to whether or not the custom roster made it into the sim. It did. So let's jump into game two between the Colorado Avalanche and the Nashville Predators. First period is scoreless. The second period is also scoreless. Third period is not. 3 goals for the Preds. PK Subban with the first and the eventual game winner. Craig Smith gets the insurance, and then Mika Salomaki with the empty netter. The Preds take game two. Pekka Rinne with the 33 save shutout. And Nashville defends home ice, as you might have expected. They have a 2-0 series lead. We jump to LA and Vegas. Game two. The Kings with a 1-0 lead in this series. Let's see if the Golden Knights can bounce back and get their first ever postseason victory. First period of Game 2, and the Knights have the lead. Thomas Tatar and Nate Schmidt with the opening goals. Tanner Pearson gets one back. Second period, Tyler Toffoli ties the game, and that sets up this third period in which the LA Kings take over. Adrian Kempe with the eventual game winner. Tanner Pearson scores two more, and it's a 5-2 victory for the LA Kings. They have a 2-0 series lead off the back of a hat trick by Tanner Pearson in Game 2. A 2-assist night for Drew Doughty as well. We go to our first Eastern Conference matchup of Night 1, basically is how it breaks down. It's the New Jersey Devils, or at least Group 1. You have your two Western Conference teams, your two Eastern Conference teams, and then you know how it works. It's almost as if it's on a TV schedule. It's kind of nice. We jump to Game 2. The Devils shockingly took Game 1. Can they continue this run of good luck here in Game 2? First period, and it does go the Devils' way. Brian Boyle and Nico Hischier with the opening two goals. Second period, Tyler Johnson gets one back, but Sami Vatanen with 15 seconds left. That may, in fact, prove to be the dagger. It's a 3-1 lead for the Devils as we sim the third period, and the New Jersey Devils go down to Tampa and take the first two games. Taylor Hall and Patrick Maroon score a few more goals. 5-1 final. Taylor Hall with a 4-point night, Nico Hischier with a 3-point night, and 27 saves from Corey Schneider give the Devils the win. In game number 2, we move on to the Blue Jackets and Capitals, their second game. Columbus with a 1-0 series lead. Let's see how this goes down. First period is scoreless. Second period is also scoreless. And the third period of game 2 goes the way of the Caps. Evgeny Kuznetsov with the goal, the only goal in Game 2, and the Capitals walk away with the win. 34 saves for Braden Holtby, and that gives the Caps a little bit of life in the series. Now 1 game apiece. We have the Minnesota Wild and the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets took Game 1. They're looking to take that 2-0 series lead here. First period of Game 2, and Nikolai Ehlers with the opening goal. Second period is scoreless, and the third period is not. Patrick Laine made it 2-0. Jason Zucker scored, and then with 47 seconds left, Zach Parise gets the game-tying goal. That brings us to overtime here in Game 2 in Winnipeg. Can the Wild steal the victory? No, they cannot. Patrick Laine strikes again under 5 minutes into the overtime, and the Jets take Game 2. They take the first 2 games of this series, a 3-point night, a 2-goal night for Laine. Also a 3-point night for Ehlers, and Connor Hellebuck with the 30-save performance. So far, only one series has a 1-1 split through the first 2 games as we get ready to sim Game 2 between San Jose and Anaheim. The Ducks, of course, took Game 1. Can they do the same thing here in Game 2? First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Despite only 5 shots in the first period, Nick Ritchie gets the goal in the second. The Ducks have the lead. Third period, San Jose ties it with 7 seconds to go. Chris Tierney ties this game and forces overtime. John Gibson so close to that shutout. The Sharks tie it and then win it 50 seconds into overtime. Tomas Hertl with the goal, and the Sharks are in this series. They win Game 2. John Gibson, your first star of the game. Unfortunately for him, the Ducks could not hold on. The Sharks would not say die. That series is tied. That brings us to Game 2 between Toronto and Boston. The Bruins with a blowout win in Game 1. They're looking for a repeat of that here in Game 2. First period is not scoreless, but we have more offense in this series. Danton Heinen with the opening goal. Nazem Kadri gets Toronto's first goal of the series, but Brad Marchand with 2:41 to go in the opening 20 minutes gives the Bruins the lead yet again. Second period, not scoreless. We are tied up at 3. JVR gets the goal for Toronto. Brian Gianna gives the Bruins the lead yet again, 3-2. Nazem Kadri gets his second goal of this game. It is 3-3 heading into the third period. Will we have a winner in regulation? Yes, we will. Patrick Marleau with the goal. The Bruins go from a 5-0 win to losing 4-3 in Game 2. So a solid bounce-back performance there from Toronto, led by Nazem Kadri with the 2-goal effort. And that brings us to our final Game 2 in this run. The Flyers and Penguins. Pittsburgh took that first game. We'll see if they can do the same thing here. First period is not scoreless. Jori Lehtera and Claude Giroux with the 2 goals for the Flyers. Second period, Philly gets more offense. Oscar Lindblom with the goal. It's 3-0 for Philadelphia as we sim the third period. Evgeny Malkin ruins the shutout, but that is all the Penguins could muster on 43 shots. Brian Elliott shuts the door, and the Flyers take Game 2. 42 saves from Elliott in that game. As the series shifts to Colorado, the Preds looking for a 3-0 series lead. Can Nathan MacKinnon lead the way for the Avs to get back into this series? First period is hardly scoreless. Roman Josi, the opening goal. Matt Nieto ties it. Ryan Johansson restores the lead. It's 2-1 Nashville. Second period, not scoreless either. Tyson Jost with the goal. We're all tied up at 2. Third period here of Game 3. And indeed, the Colorado Avalanche are in this series. Nathan MacKinnon gets the game-winning goal. Blake Comeau with the insurance on the empty netter. 4-2 final in Game 3, and the Avs are on the board. 31 save performance from Jonathan Bernier, who is the man between the pipes for the Avs in that series with Semyon Varlamov injured. As we have the third game here now, the LA Kings have a 2-0 series lead as well. Can they make it 3, or will we see the first postseason win for the Vegas Golden Knights? First period, and it's a strong start for Vegas. Cody Eakin with the goal. Kyle Clifford tied it, only for Thomas Tatar to restore the lead. Second period, and Vegas still has the lead. Alex Tuch made it 3-1. Tanner Pearson, coming off of a hat trick, gets LA back in the game. 3-2 for Vegas here as we sim the third period. And we have a win for the Vegas Golden Knights. Oh my God. A high-scoring affair here in Game 3. Nate Thompson with the goal. However, Alex Tuch gets another one. Eric Holla made it 5-3. Andy Andreoff with a goal. 36 seconds left in the game to make it 5-4. But the LA Kings fall just short. Again, a 5-4 victory for the Vegas Golden Knights. Their first ever postseason victory as the lower line guys get it done. I believe that's the fourth line for the LA Kings. Nate Thompson and Andy Andreoff, 2 points each. The Vegas Golden Knights are in that series. Game 3, shockingly, the Devils have a 2-0 series lead here. Can the Lightning get on the board? First period, and they get on the board first, at least in this game. Steven Stamkos with the lone goal of the first period. Second period, JT Miller made it 2-0. Drew Stafford gets the Devils back in this game. Third period, and the Lightning have taken Game 3. Cedric Paquette with the goal. Stamkos gets his second of the game. 34 seconds later, it's a 4-1 victory for the Lightning in Game 3. 21 saves for Vasilevsky, and of course the 2-goal night for Steven Stamkos. No series has reached that 3-0 mark. And of course that's not possible here, as the Caps and Blue Jackets split the first 2 games in Washington. Let's see what happens here in Game 3 in Columbus. First period, it's a goal apiece. Cam Atkinson and Tom Wilson. Second period, Washington takes over. TJ Oshie scores. Pierre-Luc Dubois gets it back, but Nicholas Backstrom gives Washington the lead 3-2. Third period is scoreless, and the Washington Capitals take Game 3 in a 2-1 series lead. TJ Oshie, your first star of the game. That leads us to Winnipeg and Minnesota. Of all the postseason matchups, I think this is the one that most people would assume is a lock, particularly because of the injury to Ryan Suter. However, especially in this game and with this sim engine, anything can happen. Can the Wild get back into this game? First period is not scoreless. Granlund with the opening goal for the Wild. Second period, Joel Armia ties it for Winnipeg. Third period, and it's a goal apiece. We're going to overtime. Jason Zucker with the goal. Brandon Tanev tied it up with 1:32 to go. We're into the overtime stretch here. Winnipeg with an early power play. That is killed off. 5 minutes in now. Overtimes typically end quickly, or we see double overtime in this game. Will that be the case? It will not be. Nino Niederreiter with the goal. He gives the Wild a 3-2 victory in Game 3. And again, we have yet to see that dominant 3-0 mark in a series. And we flat out won, as the last 3 series here are all at a 1-1 split. So the Minnesota Wild are in that series. Anaheim and San Jose, Game 3. Let's see if the Sharks can get the win on home ice. First period, and that's a good start. Joe Pavelski and Mikhail Bodker with the goals. Second period is scoreless, and the third period is not. Silfverberg and Adam Henrique with the goals. We have an overtime here between the Ducks and the Sharks, which should be another classic series in real life. A power play chance there for the Sharks goes to waste. A power play for the Ducks, and they take advantage. Hampus Lindholm gets another goal in this postseason run. The Ducks with the win. 39 saves for Vezina candidate John Gibson. Silfverberg and Henrique, of course, did the damage to tie that game up. The Ducks take the 2-1 series lead, and that brings us to Boston and Toronto yet again. The Bruins, of course, dominated Game 1. Toronto bounced back in a big-time way in Game 2. As let's see here, we sim the first period, and Toronto gets off to a great start. Morgan Rielly and Patrick Marleau with the goals. Second period, and the Bruins bounce back in a big way. David Pastrnak, Danton Heinen, and David Backes. 3-2 Boston at the end of 40 minutes. Third period is scoreless, and the Bruins, with a 3-2 victory in Game 3, take a 2-1 series lead. David Backes, your first star, 26 saves for Tuukka Rask in the win. And that brings us to Pittsburgh and Philly, our final Game 3 in the first round. So here we go, first period. It's a goal apiece. Lindblom and Tom Kuhnhackl with the goals. Kuhnhackl scoring from center ice on Brian Elliott. It's taken a while. I don't think we've had a center ice goal yet in the sim, but we have one there. Second period is scoreless, and the third period is also scoreless. We are going to overtime. Lindblom and Kuhnhackl's goals stand up. It's overtime in Game 3 here in Philly. They have an early power play chance, and the Flyers capitalize on it. Scott Laughton with the goal. It might have been just as the power play expired. Laughton is the overtime hero. Brian Elliott with 31 saves, and the Flyers take Game 3. And that brings us to Game 4. Colorado and Nashville. The Avs got the win in the prior game. Can the Preds regain some momentum, or will we have a tied series on our hands? First period here of Game 4. 2 goals for the Avs. McKinnon and Rantanen delivering there. McKinnon also scoring from center ice. Second period is scoreless, and the third period not scoreless. It is, unfortunately, though, for Nashville, as Gabriel Bourque with the goal. 3-0 final. The shutout, the 34-save shutout for Jonathan Bernier, and the Colorado Avalanche fight back. They win both games at home to tie that series. That brings us to Game 4 between the Kings and the Golden Knights. The Kings with the 2-1 series lead. Can they make it 3? First period here of Game 4, and Tyler Toffoli gets the opening goal. Second period, and the Kings add a few more. Adrian Kempe and Alex Iafallo with the goals. 3-0 for the LA Kings as we head into the third period, where the Golden Knights fight back. At least they tried. James Neal with the goal. Iafallo with another one, though. 4-1 final for the Kings in Game 4. Kempe with 2 points, the 2 goals for Iafallo, and of course the 23 saves from Jonathan Quick, as we have a 3-1 series lead there for the LA Kings. That brings us to New Jersey and Tampa. Can Tampa pull off what Colorado did, losing those first 2 games of the series, only to bounce back and tie it up. Let's find out. First period here of Game 4, and it's a goal apiece. JT Miller and Travis Zajac with the goals. Second period, same thing. Nikita Kucherov and Drew Stafford. That sets up the third period, where the Tampa Bay Lightning go off to tie this series. Alex Killorn, Yanni Gourde, and Braden Point. 5-2 final in favor of the Lightning. Killorn, your first star of the game, and that series is all tied up. Game 4 between Washington and Columbus. Washington with the 2-1 series lead. Let's do this. Game number 4, first period, and it's 2-1 at the end of the opening 20 for the Blue Jackets. Bjorkstrand and Dubois with the goals. Alex Chason gets one back for Washington. Second period, Columbus gets another goal, but unfortunately Washington with 2. The reverse scoreline there in that period. TJ Oshie makes it 2-2. Bjorkstrand gives Columbus the 3-2 lead. Devontae Smith-Pelly, though, has tied it. It's 3-3 as we head into the final period of regulation here. Third period is scoreless. That sets up the overtime. Can the Caps take the 3-1 series lead? No, they cannot. Cam Atkinson, the Catkinson. I'm sorry, that's a really shitty reference from an old series of mine. But Bjorkstrand is your first star with 2 goals, and that series is all tied up. Winnipeg and Minnesota. Of course, the Wild won the last game with an overtime goal from Nino Niederreiter to get on the board in this series. First period of Game 4 is scoreless. Second period is not. Goal apiece. It's Marcus Foligno for the Wild and Blake Wheeler getting his first of the postseason for the Jets. Third period, and we have a winner in regulation. Patrick Laine does it again. Another game-winning goal. The Jets with the 2-1 victory. They take the 3-1 series lead. Laine is doing incredibly well for the Jets in this series thus far. Anaheim and San Jose, the Ducks with the 2-1 series lead. Let's see how Game 4 goes for the Battle of California. First period, and it's Jonas Donskoy with the opening goal. Second period, Evander Kane makes it 2-0. Third period, and it's all San Jose in Game 4. Tomas Hertl and Joe Pavelski with the goals. John Gibson left hung out to dry yet again. The 28-save shutout for Martin Jones. A 3-point night for Joe Pavelski. And that series is all tied up at 2. Game 4 between Boston and Toronto. Let's see what happens here. First period. Oh my God. Again, another high-scoring affair already. David Pastrnak with the opening goal. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner strike back 2 goals and under a minute to give Toronto the lead. 5 minutes left, though, in the opening frame. Ryan Donato ties it. Second period. Toronto regains the lead. Nikita Zaitsev with the goal. Third period, and Toronto will take it. 5-2 final. 2 goals in that third period for JVR. 2 goals in under a minute. And this series is all tied up. Mitch Marner with a 3-point night. 2 goals, of course, from Van Riemsdyk in that third period. And our final Game 4, it's Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. The Flyers with the 2-1 series lead at this point. Can they take that commanding 3-1 lead back to Pittsburgh for Game 5? First period is not scoreless. Crosby and Kessel with the goals for the Pens. Second period, Philly gets on the board. Ivan Provorov with the goal. Third period, and the Penguins will take it and tie this series up. Zach Aston Reese and Carl Hagelin. It's a 4-1 victory for Pittsburgh in Game 4. Matt Murray with 21 saves was your first star. A 2-assist night for Chris Letang. As that brings us to Game 5. You still with me? I wasn't expecting this. I don't know why I decided to go through with this, but damn it, we're the most in-depth sim we can possibly be, aside from, literally sitting here and watching every game play out. It's Game 5. Colorado and Nashville. Let's do this. First period in Nashville, and the Preds have a 2-1 lead. Craig Smith with the opening goal. Carl Soderberg gets one back. Roman Josi restores the lead. Second period is scoreless. Third period is not. Sven Andrighetto ties it. We're going to overtime in Game 5. Let's see who walks away with the win here, and the Preds hold on. Philip Forsberg with the game winner. He was your first star of the game with a 2-point night. The Preds walk away with the win and have a 3-2 series lead. The LA Kings, one of just 2 teams who have the chance to win this series in Game 5, or to win their series in 5 games. They're up 3-1 on the Vegas Golden Knights. Can they get their first playoff home victory and keep this series alive? That is the question. First period is scoreless. Second period also scoreless. Will the Golden Knights season end here? No, it will not. Cody Eakin with the goal. And the Vegas Golden Knights live to see another day. Eakin with the game-winning goal, 33 saves shutout for Marc-Andre Fleury, 31 saves for Jonathan Quick. An impressive performance, but Fleury wins the duel, and the Golden Knights stay alive. That brings us to Tampa and New Jersey. We're all tied up at 2. The home team has yet to win in this series. Will that change here in Game 5? First period is not scoreless. It's a goal apiece. JT Miller strikes again, and Ben Lovejoy with the goal for the Devils. Second period is scoreless, and the third period goes the way of the Lightning. Tyler Johnson with the game-winning goal. The Lightning become the first team to win at home in this series off the back of a 26-save performance for Andrei Vasilevsky, and the Lightning have the lead in that series. That brings us to Game 5 between Columbus and Washington. The series is tied up at 2 wins apiece. First period here in Game 5 in Columbus. It was looking good for a second there. Ovi with the opening goal. Bjorkstrand tied it. Verana, though, with the goal to give Washington the 2-1 lead. Second period is scoreless. And in the third period, Washington fights back to get to overtime. Burakovsky made it 3-1. Anderson and Nick Foligno with the goals. We are going to overtime in this series. Washington with the early power play chance that goes to waste. Let's see what happens here. Will we have a winner soon? We have yet to see a double overtime game in these playoffs. This could perhaps be the one who will find that winning goal to give their team the 3-2 lead heading into Game 6. We will indeed have to wait for double overtime. Don't blink. It might end quickly. Power play chance for the Caps. And there it is. Dmitry Orlov with the goal. 4-3 final in favor of Washington. Josh Anderson was your first star of the game. A 2-point night for him. 2-assist night for Oshie. And also a 2-point night for Bjorkstrand. But there you go. As that series is now 3-2 in favor of the Caps. The Winnipeg Jets, the only other team who have the chance to end a series here in Game 5. They have a 3-1 lead on the Minnesota Wild. Can they become the first team to close out a series in this first round? First period, and it's 1 goal apiece. Jason Zucker and Josh Morrissey. Second period, another goal apiece effort. Mark Scheifele with his first of the postseason, and Charlie Coyle. Third period, will the Wild season end here? No, it will not, as they put up one hell of a fight. Eric Stahl with the goal. Marcus Foligno with an empty netter, and then Eunice Brodin with 11 seconds left gets one back, or gets another one for good measure. 5-2 final. And this series will see a Game 6. Again, Stahl and Zucker both with 2 points in that game. Anaheim and San Jose. Game 5. Series is split at 2 wins apiece. Let's do this. Let's go. First period, and Andrew Cogliano gets the lone goal, 1-0 Anaheim. Second period is scoreless. Third period is also scoreless. Andrew Cogliano's first period goal holds up, proves to be the winner. 38 save shutout for John Gibson. Martin Jones with a very respectable performance as well. But the Ducks walk away with the victory. They take the 3-2 series lead. We're back in Boston for Game 5 here. Will the Bruins have the lead in Toronto for Game 6? Let's find out. First period, and the Leafs offense continues to fire on all cylinders here. JVR with the goal 1 minute in. Austin Matthews gets another one. 2-0 Leafs. Second period, JVR again makes it 3-0 Toronto. 23 shots to 11 for the Maple Leafs. As we sim the third period, it is scoreless. Toronto off the back of a 3-0 shutout victory in Game 5, have the chance to end the series in 6 on home ice. 2 goals for JVR, the 18-save shutout for Frederik Andersen. Philly and Pittsburgh. Game 5 in Pittsburgh. Let's go. Let's do this. First period, as the Penguins get the opening goal, Patrick Hornqvist. Second period, Evgeny Malkin makes it 2-0. Third period, as the Flyers battle back, and we have another overtime here. Travis Konechny and Yuri Laterra with the goals. Overtime in Game 5, the Battle of Pennsylvania. Power play chance here for the Penguins is wasted. Who can get the goal here? The Flyers. Nolan Patrick, the rookie, with the overtime winner. And there will be a chance, there is the chance for the Flyers on home ice in Game 6 to potentially end the series and to end the run of the Penguins, who of course are looking for 3 straight 36 saves for Brian Elliott. 2-point night for Gino, but Nolan Patrick, the rookie, the game-winning overtime goal, the biggest goal of his career, gives the Flyers that 3-2 series lead. As we get ready for Game 6 between Nashville and Colorado, the Preds can end it here. Let's do this. First period in Colorado, and Roman Josi gets the opening goal for Nashville. Second period, Colorado bounces back. 12 seconds left in the period, Matt Nieto with the goal. The Avs need to win this game to keep their postseason and Stanley Cup hopes alive. And they do, in fact, get the win. When in doubt, Nathan MacKinnon has shown up in this series. Mark Barberio with the empty net to make it a 3-1 final score. Jonathan Bernier, another first-star performance, 26 saves. McKinnon and Barberio, the other 2 stars. That series, we'll see a Game 7 in Nashville. That brings us to Game 6 here. The Kings looking to close things out against the Vegas Golden Knights. First period, LA gets the opening goal, Adrian Kempe. Second period is scoreless. Can the Golden Knights force Game 7? No, they cannot. Jonathan Quick with the 30-save shutout. The magical run of the Vegas Golden Knights has come to an end in the first round as they fall to the Kings 6-0. Not 6-0. The 30-save shutout for Jonathan Quick. 1-0 in Game 6 is what we're saying. Hey, this has been like 37 minutes of me just going full bore here. Mistakes are going to be made. That is okay. The Golden Knights, your first team to fall in the postseason. LA moves on after winning the series in 6 games. The Tampa Bay Lightning have a chance to end things here. We're back in New Jersey. The Devils have not won here. Can they change that? First period. They're going to have an uphill battle here. Doubled up in shots. Outshot 14-7. Jesper Bratt with the opening goal, but Stamkos got it back fairly quickly. And JT Miller with the goal to give the Lightning the lead at the end of the opening 20. Second period is scoreless. The Devils need the score or this series is over in 6. And indeed, it is. The Tampa Bay Lightning take Game 6 by the score of 2-1 and take this series in 6 games. A great effort from Corey Schneider, 37 saves on the night, but the Devils fall just short. LA have punched their ticket to the second round, and Tampa joins them. It's Game 6 now between Washington and Columbus. Can the Blue Jackets stay alive and force Game 7 back in the nation's capital? First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Alex Ovechkin with the goal. He puts the pressure on. Can the Blue Jackets tie this up? They can do more than that. Wenberg ties it. Pierre-Luc Dubois, the rookie, gets the winning goal. Ian Cole with the insurance with 12 seconds to go on the empty netter. And we will have a Game 7 between the Capitals and Blue Jackets. 36 saves from Sergei Bobrovsky in the winning effort. That brings us to Winnipeg and Minnesota. The Wild still hanging in there. Can they force Game 7 back in Winnipeg, or will the Jets make it to the second round? First period, as Winnipeg gets the opening goal, it's Kyle Connor getting on the board there, beating Devin Dubnyk. Dubnyk? I still never know. Second period, as the Wild battle back. Marcus Foligno and Eric Stahl gave Minnesota the lead. Josh Morrissey ties it, though. Third period, it's all on the line for Minnesota. Can they force Game 7? No, they cannot, because yet again, it's Patrick Laine with the dagger. He gets the series-winning goal with 56 seconds remaining in the third period, and then tallies the empty netter with 33 seconds to go. Patrick Laine and the Winnipeg Jets are moving on to the second round, dispatching of the Minnesota Wild in 6 games. That brings us to Game 6 between Anaheim and San Jose. The Ducks with a chance to end it. 3 series have ended so far. Can Anaheim be the 4th team to punch their ticket to round 2? First period, and it's a strong start. Andy Welinski and Adam Henrique with the goals. Timo Meier gets one back, though, with 1:17 to go in the first period. Second period is scoreless. The Sharks need a big effort here in the final 20 minutes of regulation, or the Ducks are moving on to round 2. And the effort was there in a way. Corey Perry makes it 3-1. Timo Meier strikes again to make it 3-2. But with 1:52 to go, Ryan Kessler ends the hopes and dreams of all Sharks fans. The Anaheim Ducks, off the back of a 4-2 victory in Game 6, are moving on to the second round. Timo Meier was your first star of the game with a 2-goal night, but Anaheim gets the last laugh. So half of our series are done thus far. However, we still have 2 Game 6 left to go. Game 6 is, I suppose, it's Boston and Toronto. In Toronto, the Leafs have a chance to end it here. First period, and it's a strong start for the Leafs. Patrick Marleau and Tyler Bozak with the goals. David Backes strikes with 26 seconds left. Where's Brad Marchand? Where's Patrice Bergeron? These are questions that have to be asked. Second period is scoreless. Can the Leafs get some redemption and win the series in 6? Yes, they can. Nazem Kadri made it 3-1. 3-1? 3-1 because of the David Backes goal. Brad Marchand does strike, but Zach Hyman with the empty netter. It's a 4-2 final for the Leafs, and again, they are moving on to round 2. Nazem Kadri with the 2-point effort, and that does it for that series. And here we go. The final Game 6 on the docket. It's Philly and Pittsburgh. The Flyers can end it here. Although apparently I was still on Stat Central for whatever reason. Let's do this. Can the Flyers end the run of the Penguins, or will we have another Game 7 to look forward to? First period, as the Flyers get off to a strong start, it's Nolan Patrick and Claude Giroux with the goals. Second period, Pittsburgh battles back, though. Geno Malkin not ready to take a vacation just yet, and that sets up this third period. Can the Flyers win it and end this series, or will the Penguins force Game 7 on home ice? Let's find out. And the Philadelphia Flyers win the Battle of Pennsylvania in 6 games. Phil Kessel gave the Penguins the lead. Ghost Bear ties it. And then with 2:13 remaining, Matt Reed gets the series-clinching goal, the Game 6 winner. Ghost Bear with a 4-point night, leading the way for the Flyers. He was involved in every goal. So there you have it. An unreal stat as all but 2 series end in 6 games. We have Game 7 right now between Colorado and Nashville, and then the Game 7 between Columbus and Washington. So let's do this. Colorado and Nashville. Will the President's Trophy curse continue, or will the Preds move on to round 2 and continue their effort to get back to the Stanley Cup final? First period, and it's a great start for the Avs. Nathan MacKinnon with the goal. Second period, as Nashville battles back, Philip Forsberg and Kevin Fiala with the goals. 20 minutes away are the Preds, unless the Avalanche have some fight left in them. Third period, and the Nashville Predators will hold on. Tyson Jost tied it early on in the third. Austin Watson, though, gets the goal back. 3-2 lead for Nashville. That ends up being the game-winning and series-clinching goal as Roman Josi adds the empty net insurance goal with 48 seconds to go. Austin Watson is your hero. The Nashville Predators survive one hell of a scare. What an effort. What a story for the Avalanche to bounce back the way they did and to take Nashville, again, the President's Trophy winning team, to take them to 7 games. And that leaves us with one series left in the first round. It's Columbus and Washington. Let's go. First period, and it's a strong start for the Caps. Alex Ovechkin and John Carlson with the goals. Second period, Andrei Burakovsky makes it 3. The Caps are 20 minutes away from either punching their ticket to the second round or suffering from an unbelievable third period collapse. Let's see what happens as Columbus gets one back very early on, 21 seconds in to the third period. Cam Atkinson ruins the shutout, but from there, the Capitals lock things down. 3-1 final. In Game 7, the Washington Capitals are moving on off the back of a 31-save performance from Braden Holtby and a 2-assist night from TJ Oshie. As that completes the first round and the second round, it is the Battle of the Titans, Winnipeg and Nashville, LA and Anaheim, Toronto, Tampa, Philly, and Washington. Unbelievable stuff. Let's take a look at the player stats here. TJ Oshie, 9 points in that first round. What I am going to do is quickly scroll through each team so you can get a look at the stats if you care to. That's completely up to you. Of course, if you want to take a look at how your team did, how certain players did, all you have to do is pause the video at certain points, but I am going to go through this fairly quickly. Nathan MacKinnon with the 6 points. I did see, of course, that Zdeno Chara had no points whatsoever. But like I said, there are definitely talking points there as far as some players completely underperforming and just not doing anything really for the team. However, we're 45 minutes, if not longer, into this adventure, and we still have some time to go. So like I said, I'm going to try to move through these teams in a timely manner. Let me know, though, the story of the first round. What's interesting to you as far as players potentially underperforming here that I haven't pointed out or that I haven't mentioned? In terms of certain teams falling just short, what would you say were the difference makers? But interesting, of course, that Taylor Hall and Nathan MacKinnon led the way for their team. Philly moving on despite their leading point scorer only putting up 5 points. Ghost Bear really dominated in that one particular game as Brian Elliott with a .941 save percentage. If only Flyers fans could be that certain of their goaltending. But interesting that the Pittsburgh Penguins run has ended in the first round. We are guaranteed new Stanley Cup champions in this postseason run. So let's take a look here. Toronto, Nazem Kadri and Mitch Marner absolutely killed it. The top guys for Toronto delivered 100%, although Anderson's save percentage was a bit low. But there you see, like Marchessault and William Karlsson, Riley Smith for that matter as well, just collapsed in the postseason. They simply did not show up, and that was the final nail in the coffin for them. Connor Hellebuck with a .928 save percentage. Patrick Laine, 5 goals, 7 points in that first round. So let's go, shall we? I'll take a nice little lucky swig of Arnold Palmer. Try to refresh the voice. Round 2. Let's go. Winnipeg and Nashville. Let's do this again. A battle of the Titans. First period, and my God, the offense of Winnipeg. Kyle Connor and Dustin Byfuglien make it a 2-0 game. Salomaki gets a goal back. Morrissey and Scheifele give Winnipeg a 4-1 lead at the end of the opening 20. Second period, Ryan Johansson gets a goal back. It's 4-2. Third period, Craig Smith made it 4-3. Nikolai Ehlers with the insurance goal. It's a 5-3 victory for the Jets in Game 1 on the road. 3-point night for Kyle Connor. He is your first star of the game. That brings us to Game 1 between the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks, as if these guys haven't had some postseason wars in the past. First period is scoreless. Second period is also scoreless. Third period, and the Anaheim Ducks will walk away with the win here in Game 1. Andrew Cogliano with the game-winning goal. Brandon Montour gets the insurance. The Ducks take Game 1 off the back of a 25-save shutout from John Gibson. That leads us over to the Eastern Conference. It's Toronto and Tampa. Game 1 in Tampa. First period is scoreless. Second period is scoreless. The third period is not. 3 goals for the Lightning. Nikita Kucherov gets the game winner. Braden Point and Andre Palat with the insurance. So it was close until the Lightning simply took over in the third period. They take Game 1. 3 points for both Palat and Braden Point. Vasilevsky with the shutouts. And that brings us to our final Game 1. It's Philly and Washington. The Caps, of course, survived that 7-game series against Columbus. First period in Washington as they get started off on the right foot here. Tom Wilson and Alex Ovechkin with the first 2 goals of this game. Second period sim is scoreless. And the third period is not scoreless. A whole lot of offense, but the Caps will walk away with the victory. Philly ties it. Wayne Simmons and Voracek with the goals, but from there, Ovechkin helps take over. He gets the game-winning goal. Vrana and then Kuznetsov with the empty net goal. The Washington Capitals off the back of a 5-2 victory, and again, another 3-goal third period. 4 points on the night for Ovechkin and Evgeny Kuznetsov. 28 saves for Braden Holtby, and the Caps take Game 1. Game 2 now between Winnipeg and Nashville. The Jets' offense thrived in Game 1. Can they have a repeat performance? First period, and the answer appears to be yes. Scott Hartnell gets the opening goal for Nashville, but from there, Dustin Byfuglien, Brandon Tanev, who has put up quite a few goals already for the Jets, and Kyle Connor strikes again. It's 3-1. Second period, Nashville battles back. However, Philip Forsberg with 2 goals, and we're all tied up at 3 apiece. Third period is scoreless. We are going to overtime in Game 2. Will the Jets take a 2-0 series lead back home with them in this series, or will the Philip Forsberg-led comeback be completed? Can the Preds take Game 2? And they cannot. Who else? Patrick Laine, the overtime winner. Patrick Laine does it again. Forsberg with 2 goals, the 2-point night for both Hartnell and Laine. Laine would have been my choice for first star. The Jets take a 2-0 series lead back home with them. As the Anaheim Ducks, already on home ice, will look to take a 2-0 series lead with them on the road to Los Angeles. First period, as the Kings get off to a good start, Reeder and Doughty with the goals. 2 goals in under a minute. Second period, and the LA Kings offense has shown up. Tanner Pearson makes it 3-0. Ryan Kessler makes it 3-1. Nate Thompson makes it 4-1. Ryan Kessler, his second goal, makes it 4-2. Tanner Pearson, with his second goal, it's 5-2 Kings at the end of the second period. Third period is scoreless after that unreal flurry in the second. The LA Kings have tied this series up off the back of a 3-point night from Drew Doughty. That leads us to Game 2 between Toronto and Tampa. Let's see how this goes. Can the Leafs get on the board here? First period, and it's another strong start for the Lightning. Kucherov and Cirelli with the first 2 goals. Austin Matthews gets one back, but then a heartbreaker for the Leafs with 41 seconds to go. It's Tyler Johnson making it a 3-1 game. Second period, Toronto battles back. Connor Brown makes it a 3-2 game. The Leafs have a chance here. They have life heading into the third. And unfortunately for them, the offense just keeps on coming for the Lightning. JT Miller with the goal. Riley gets it back, but then Nikita Kucherov with the insurance. Miller's goal will hold up as the game winner. It's 5-3 in favor of the Lightning, a 3-point night for trade deadline acquisition JT Miller, and the Lightning take a 2-0 series lead. So we have a 2-0 lead, a 1-1 split, and a 2-0 lead. Can the Caps avoid just the way this has played out so far? Can they take that 2-0 series lead against the Philadelphia Flyers? Let's see how it goes. First period in Washington, and it's a goal apiece. Devontae Smith-Pelly and Lindblom with another goal. Second period, Burakovsky gets the lead back for the Capitals. It's 2-1 as we sim the third. And we have an overtime on our hands. Alex Ovechkin made it 3-1, but Travis Konechny and Sean Couturier helped the Flyers battle back. Again, it's overtime here in game number 2. Will we see a quick win? Washington unable to capitalize. Philly now with a power play of their own. They are also unable to make the most of that opportunity. 3-3 here in overtime of game 2. Can the Flyers get on the board in this series before the series shifts to Philadelphia? No, they cannot. Vrana with the game-winning goal. 4-3 final for the Caps. They take the lead in the series. A 50 save performance from Braden Holtby. The 3-assist night from John Carlson. And the Caps take the 2-0 series lead, which means only the Anaheim and LA series has that 1-1 split so far. Game 3 between the Jets and Preds. The Jets have that 2-0 series lead. Can they make it a commanding 3-0? First period, it's a strong start for the Jets. Mark Scheifele with the lone goal of the period. Second period is scoreless. The third period is not. Roman Josi, with 3 minutes and 2 seconds to go, has tied this game up. We have another overtime here. You're in game 3, and it's a quick winner. This time, not Patrick Laine. Philip Forsberg delivers for Nashville. It's a 2-1 win for the Preds here in game 3. Hellebuck, your first star with a 34-save performance. Scheifele also on the board, as opposed to Philip Forsberg. I don't really think the Preds care. They're on the board in this series. Game 3 here in Los Angeles between the Kings and the Ducks, who will take that 2-1 series lead. We're going to find out. First period, as Anaheim gets the opening goal, Lindholm with yet another goal in this postseason run. Second period, Corey Perry makes it 2. Third period, the Kings get a goal back with 3 minutes to go. It's Alex Martinez, but the Ducks will get the win here. 2-1 final. Jonathan Quick with a 30-save performance, 26 saves from John Gibson in the win. Anaheim's up 2-1 in that series. Toronto and Tampa. Toronto in Toronto against Tampa. Can they get on the board in the series? Let's find out. First period, the Lightning with another strong start. JT Miller again and Nikita Kucherov with the goals. Second period, Stamkos makes it 3. Third period, Toronto battles back, but they fall just short. Kasperi Kapanen and Thomas Plekanec with the goals, but the Lightning with a 3-2 victory in Game 3, they take that commanding 3-0 series lead. A 3-point night for both Stamkos and Miller. Vasilevsky was your third star, and that leads us to the final Game 3. It's Washington and Philadelphia, the Caps, with that 2-0 series lead. Can they add to it, or will the Flyers get on the board in the series? First period, and it's the Washington Capitals with the opening goal. Tom Wilson strikes again. Second period, Simmons ties it. Wilson, this time, in this game specifically, strikes again. His second goal of the game. It's a 2-1 lead for the Caps. Third period, and that is not what Flyers fans wanted to see. Nicholas Backstrom makes it 3. Matt Reed scores with 57 seconds left, but it's too little, too late. 3-2 final. The Capitals also have a 3-0 series lead. 35 saves for Braden Holtby. The 2 goals for Wilson, and it's a 3-assist night for Alex Ovechkin. So we have 2 2-1 splits and 2 3-0 series leads. So let's go now back to Nashville and Winnipeg. The Jets still with a 2-1 series advantage. They're going to be looking to make that 3-1 as the series, of course, will head back to Nashville for Game 5. First period is scoreless. Second period is not. It's the Preds opening up the scoring. Craig Smith and Ryan Ellis with the goals. Andrew Kopp gets Winnipeg on the board with 1 minute and 37 seconds to go in the period. Third period, can the Preds tie this series? No, they cannot, at least not yet. Adam Lowry and Tucker Poolman give Winnipeg the lead. Kyle Turris, with 1 second left, ties this game and forces overtime. Can you imagine that situation in real life in Winnipeg? 1 second away from having a 3-1 series lead, and Kyle Turris ties it. An absolute heartbreaker. We still have overtime to go, though. The Jets' dream of taking that 3-1 series lead to Nashville with them is still alive. An early power play chance for Winnipeg goes to waste. They have another one, though. It's a 5-on-3, and the Jets still cannot score, but now they do. Dustin Byfuglien with the overtime winner. He is the hero. Kyle Turris' heroics go to waste. Lowry's your first star with a 2-point night. Kyle Turris with a 3-point night and 1 goals, by the way. But the 1 goal for Kyle Turris. Dustin Byfuglien, your game-winning goal in overtime, is your 3rd star of the game. Winnipeg with a 3-1 series lead. We go to the other Western Conference matchup. Anaheim with a 2-1 series lead so far in this series. First period of Game 4 is scoreless. Second period is not. It's a goal apiece. Jake Muzzin and Jason Chimera with the goals. Third period, and the LA Kings take it. Anze Kopitar, the lone goal of that third period. And the LA Kings with the W. 2-point night for Kopitar, involved in both goals. 26 saves for Jonathan Quick. 31 for John Gibson in the loss. That series is tied at 2 games apiece. As we focus on Tampa and Toronto, the Lightning with the chance to sweep the Maple Leafs here in Toronto in Game 4. First period is not scoreless. Zach Hyman with the opening goal. That's the start that the Leafs needed. Second period, as Toronto still maintains the lead. Zach Hyman with the second of the game, 2-0, but then Ryan Callahan just over a minute later. I'm losing my mind at this point. Ryan Callahan gets the Lightning on the board. I'm definitely losing my mind. 2-1 Toronto as we sim the third period, and the Maple Leafs avoid being swept. Tyler Bozak with the goal. Leo Komarov with the empty netter. 4-1 final. Toronto lives to see another day. 2 goals by Zach Hyman, or for Zach Hyman, and Frederik Andersen with a 31 save performance. Toronto is not dead yet. However, we might not be able to say the same about the Philadelphia Flyers. Washington with a 3-0 series lead. The Capitals are on the verge of finally, somehow, exercising their demons and making it past the second round. Can they do that, or will the Flyers force Game 5? Let's find out. First period is scoreless. Second period, also scoreless. Third period, and it's happened. Do you believe in miracles? Evgeny Kuznetsov with the lone goal of the game in the third period. The Washington Capitals have taken advantage of what I can only assume to be a quite tired Flyers team that outlasted the Penguins. The Washington Capitals have swept the Philadelphia Flyers. They become the first team to punch their ticket to the conference final. The Washington Capitals have made it past the second round. Insanity. And that leads us to game number 5. Winnipeg has a 3-1 lead, as I don't know why it goes back to stats sometimes. Winnipeg has a 3-1 lead on Nashville. Can they pull off the upset and knock out the President's Trophy winning Preds in Game 5 here in Nashville? First period is not scoreless. PK Subban, the opening goal. Matthew Perreault just 30 seconds later tied it up. Colton Sissons with the goal, and it's 2-1 Nashville. Second period, Blake Wheeler ties it. He gets another goal this postseason, and it comes down to this final 20 minutes of regulation. Will the Preds season continue, or will the Jets pull off the upset? And there you have it. in just 5 games. The Winnipeg Jets are moving on. Brian Little with the game-winning, series-clinching goal. The Winnipeg Jets have punched their ticket to the conference final, eliminating the Preds in 5 games. The question is, who will play Winnipeg in the conference final? We won't get our answer here in this game, but we may get a good indication. It's Game 5 between the Kings and the Ducks. This series is tied at 2 games apiece. First period is hardly scoreless, 2 goals each. Nick Ritchie, Dustin Brown, Marcus Pettersson, and Andrzej Kopitar with the goals. Second period, also not scoreless. Andy Walensky and Ricard Raquel give the Ducks a 4-2 lead. Third period, the Kings nearly battle their way back. I follow with the goal, but they follow just short-o, if you get what I mean. 4-3 final for Anaheim. They have a chance to end the series in 6 games. Ricard Raquel, your first star of the game. And that brings us to Tampa and Toronto. Back in Tampa, a 3-1 series lead for the Lightning. Can they clinch their spot in the conference final against the Washington Capitals? First period, as the Leafs get the opening goal, Nazem Kadri. 18 shots to 3, by the way, for Toronto. Second period, as William Nylander made it 2-0, but the Lightning battle back. Tyler Johnson and Cedric Paquette with the goals. And it could all end here for Toronto. Third period, and indeed it does. Andre Palat gets the game-winning and series-clinching goal. Sergachev and Yanni Gourde with the insurance. 5-2 final in this game, and our Eastern Conference final is set. It'll be Tampa and Washington. 3 assists in that game for Ryan McDonough. So there you have it. Winnipeg over Nashville in 5. Tampa over Toronto in 5. Washington sweeps Philadelphia. And that brings us to Game 6 between the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings. Can the Kings keep their season alive and force Game 7? Or will the Ducks move on to play Winnipeg in the conference final? First period, it's a goal apiece. Ryan Kessler and Trevor Lewis with the goals. Second period is scoreless. Third period is also scoreless. It comes down to this. Overtime in Game 6. Can the Kings keep their season alive, or will we be moving on to the Final Four, the conference final matchups? As we're 10 minutes into the overtime, and there it is. Ryan Getzlaf makes it happen. 2-1 final. The stage is set. Anaheim and Winnipeg, Washington and Tampa. 41 saves for John Gibson. Jonathan Quick with a 31 save effort. Ryan Getzlaf, though, the game-winning and series-clinching goal in overtime of Game 6. So again, we will scroll back through the teams that were alive in that stage of the postseason. So you'll get an updated look at what's happened with the Anaheim Ducks. That was Getzlaf's first goal of the postseason. John Gibson right now is absolutely killing it, as is Jonathan Quick with a .942 save percentage. Again, if you want to see what is going on with the team in terms of scoring, all you have to do is pause at this point in time, just for the sake of time, really. Nashville falls just short. Roman Josi, though, 11 points in that run. It was not enough. The .917 for Pekka Rinne just wasn't enough. And then Philadelphia, Brian Elliott's save percentage still strong at a .930, but the team just sort of dropped off, particularly Claude Giroux. Only 4 points in 10 games. So we get a look. I don't think we need to get a look at the Sharks now, do we? We do need to get a look, though, at the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think I've missed a team, but we're so far into this run now that, again, I feel like I'm losing my mind, and I probably have missed a team. As Frederik Andersen had a second chance at getting his game back together. He simply could not do that against the high firepower of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Alex Ovechkin is absolutely killing it. 16 points in 11 games. Braden Holtby has also had a return to form. And Connor Hellebuck with just a .920 save percentage, but the offense has been there, particularly from Laine and Ehlers. I think I didn't miss a team. Hopefully I did not. Ovechkin, your leading scorer in this postseason run. And that brings us to this. The Winnipeg Jets and the Anaheim Ducks. Now, the Ducks do have home ice advantage, even though I don't believe they would in the real series, but that's okay. Side effect to it being a video game. What matters, though, is whether or not a team can simply get the job done. Winnipeg and Anaheim here in Game 1, first period, and the Jets get off to a good start again. It's Laine and Ehlers. Second period, Corey Perry gets a goal back. Laine gets his second goal of the game. Tyler Myers, with 28 seconds left in the period, makes it 4-1. Third period, and the Jets offense steamrolls John Gibson and the Anaheim Ducks. Brian Little with 2 goals. Henrique gets one back, but then Blake Wheeler puts up the 7th goal of the game for the Jets. 7-2 final. 4-point night for Laine, 4-point night for Ehlers, 2 goals for Brian Little. Again, 7-2 final in Game 1. What a performance on the road by the Jets. And that leads us to Game 1, Washington and Tampa. First period, Caps get the opening goal. Alex Ovechkin continues his hot start, or his hot run here in this postseason. Second period, it's a goal apiece. Yanni Gourde tied it. John Carlson, I believe that was his second goal of the postseason, gives Washington the 2-1 lead. Third period, and the Caps take Game 1. Vrana and then Ovechkin yet again. 4-1 final in favor of Washington. The 2-goal night, 3 assists for Evgeny Kuznetsov in that game. So it's Winnipeg and Washington with the lead to begin each series. Game 2. Jets and Ducks. Let's see if the Ducks can put up a little bit of a better defensive and goaltending display. First period, it's a goal apiece. Chimera and Brian Little. Second period, again a goal apiece. Corey Perry and Nikolai Ehlers. Third period is scoreless. We're going to overtime for the first time in the conference final. Who will get the win here? We've seen some big overtime performances from each team. Laine and Getzlaf. Power play for the Jets is unsuccessful, but in the aftermath, you could see it coming. Patrick Laine does it again. The overtime winner for Laine, 3-2 final for the Jets. They take the 2-0 series lead, winning both games on the road. Hellebuyck with 37 saves, 2 points for both Laine and Ehlers. They have been unstoppable. Game 2 between Washington and Tampa. Let's do this. First period is hardly scoreless, a goal apiece. Hedman and TJ Oshie. Second period is scoreless. Third period is not. Evgeny Kuznetsov strikes. Washington wins it. It's a 2-1 final score. 32 saves for Braden Holtby. A 2-assist night for Nicholas Backstrom. And both series find themselves with a 2-0 series lead. The team with the home advantage so far has not gotten it done. We'll see if that story continues, though, as the series switch cities. It's now Game 3 in Winnipeg. Can the Ducks get on the board, or will the Jets bring themselves to within 1 game of a Stanley Cup Finals appearance? First period, it's a goal apiece. Tyler Myers and Nick Ritchie. Second period, as Winnipeg takes the lead, Nikolai Ehlers and Blake Wheeler. Third period, and the Winnipeg Jets, off the back of a 5-2 win, have a 3-0 series lead. Cogliano with the goal, but then Laine and Scheifele with the insurance. Again, the Jets now with that commanding 3-0 series lead. 2-point night for Scheifele, 3-point night for Laine, 27 saves for Connor Hellebuyck. Winnebago for Connor Hellebuyck. Winnipeg, 1 win away from a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. The question is whether or not the Washington Capitals can keep pace with the Jets. Can they take a shocking 3-0 series lead over Tampa? First period, and it's a strong start. Devontae Smith-Pelly and Jay Beagle with the goals. Second period, Tampa gets one back. It's JT Miller. Third period, and the Washington Capitals also have a 3-0 series lead and are one game away from punching their ticket to the Stanley Cup final. Chiasson, Carlson, Ovechkin, and Oshie. Vasilevsky gets ripped apart. It's 6-1, the final score. 31 saves for Braden Holtby. A 3-point night for Alex Chiasson. Unbelievable. As we'll see if the Jets can win this series and make it to the Stanley Cup final for the first time in franchise history. First period. And it's a strong start there for the Ducks. They desperately needed it. Adam Henrique with the lone goal of the first. Second period, as the Ducks are battling back strong, Andre Kasha and Corey Perry, it's 3-0. Third period, Ricard Raquel makes it 4. Matthew Perreault ruins the shutout, but it's 4-1. The final score, the Anaheim Ducks are still alive, despite being outshot 35-20. John Gibson was your first star with 34 saves, a 3-point night for both Raquel and Ryan Getzlaf. Our attention turns to Washington and Tampa. Can the Caps complete the sweep? First period here in Washington is scoreless. Second period is not. Tampa with 2 gigantic goals. Steven Stamkos making it happen, trying to keep this season alive. Third period, and that helps. Jay Beagle gets the goal, ruins the shutout, but the Lightning also hold on. No sweep in either conference final series matchup. Stamkos with the 2 goals, 31 saves for Braden Holtby in the loss. We will go to Game 5 in each series, and that starts here with Winnipeg and Anaheim. Can the Ducks stay alive? First period, and that's, again, another strong start. Ryan Getzlaf with the opening goal. Second period, Winnipeg battles back. Brian Little tied it. Silfverberg restored the lead. Matthew Perreault strikes again. It's 2-2 as we enter the third period. Can the Jets make it to the Stanley Cup final in this game, or will the Ducks stay alive and live to see another day? The Winnipeg Jets are going to the Stanley Cup final. Blake Wheeler with the lone goal of the third period. The Jets win the series in 5. 2-point night for Matthew Perreault. He leads the way. The Winnipeg Jets are in the Stanley Cup final. The question is, who will join them? Can the Caps end this series in 5 and finally make it to the Cup final, or will the season-long favorite, the Tampa Bay Lightning, will they stay alive? First period, it's a goal apiece. Yanni Gourde and TJ Oshie. Second period, Alex Chiasson. He had a great game last time out, if not 2 games ago. He gets another goal here. 2-1 for the Caps. Will they end this series? Yes, they will. Oshie tied it, or Oshie gets the insurance goal that ends up being the game-winning and series-clinching goal. Alex Killorn gets Tampa to within 1 with 23 seconds to go. Too little, too late. Both conference finals matchups end in 5. Oshie with 2 goals. The Washington Capitals will meet the Winnipeg Jets in the Stanley Cup final. Unbelievable stuff. Let's take a look at the stats. We'll get our look first at the Anaheim Ducks, who fall just short. Henrique led the way with 12 points in that postseason run. John Gibson was amazing, but against the Winnipeg Jets, that save percentage dropped quickly. A .924 is what he finishes this postseason run with. We get a look at Tampa. Vasilevsky just could not keep up. A .912 save percentage in 16 games. Stamkos, Kucherov, JT Miller all had great postseason runs, but it just was not enough. We also get a look here at Washington. Ovi, 21 points in 16 games. Brett Conley, no points in those same amount of games. Unreal stuff. Braden Holtby, though, with a .942 save percentage. And then Winnipeg, Connor Hellebuck, only a .918. It's a little bit concerning. Laine, though, 20 points in 16 games, leading the way with 10 goals. Again, he and Perreault have been nearly unstoppable. That is going to be the key. Can Connor Hellebuck get that save percentage up? And can Laine and Ehlers continue to score at the same pace? Can they outscore the Washington Capitals? Again, taking a look here, we'll go in depth a little bit for the Stanley Cup Finals matchup. Winnipeg averaging 3.25 goals for per game. Washington at an even 3. The goals against, though, Washington's been better, an even 2, a 2.44 for Winnipeg. The power play is both tremendous, 25.5% for Winnipeg, the 26.4 for Washington. Only one shorthanded goal against. The penalty kills, 86% for Winnipeg, 81% for Washington. 2 shorthanded goals for the Jets, by the way. The Jets, though, 8-1 on the road. That could be a huge factor as we are ready. We are set. The Stanley Cup Final. Washington and Winnipeg. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. Game 1 in Washington. First period, and it's a goal apiece. Mark Scheifele scored 11 seconds into the game. Evgeny Kuznetsov ties it up. Second period, Kyle Connor gives Winnipeg the lead. Third period, and Kyle Connor strikes again. Adam Lowry, the little bit of insurance. The Winnipeg offense continues to deliver. 4-1 final. In Game 1, the Jets get to Braden Holtby. The 4-point night. 2 goals for Kyle Connor. 31 saves for Hellebuck. The 2-assist night for Tyler Myers. The Jets strike first on the road. As we get ready for Game 2 here, we'll see if Washington can have a return to form in terms of offensive production. First period, and it's a goal apiece. Brian Little and Matt Niskanen with the goals. Second period, Joel Armia gives the Jets a 2-1 lead. Third period, the score stands 2-1 final. The Jets take both games on the road to start this series. Connor Hellebuck surrenders 1 goal. I do believe, was it 1 goal or 2? Either way, 30 saves. 1 goal in this game. I don't even remember the score of Game 1. Doesn't matter. Connor Hellebuck was a question mark with his save percentage entering this series. Hellebuck is rising to the occasion here. Winnipeg, 2 wins away. Just 2 wins away from taking home the Stanley Cup in 2018. Game 3, we're in Winnipeg. The whiteout is real. First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Scheifele with 2 goals. Blake Wheeler makes it 3. The Caps do battle back, though. Tom Wilson and Nicholas Backstrom, 2 goals in 1 minute and 2 seconds. It's 3-2 for the Jets. Can they take that 3-0 series lead is the question, though. And they can. Armia with another huge goal. 4-2 final. The Winnipeg Jets have a 3-0 series lead off the back of a 2-goal performance from Mark Scheifele and a 30-save performance from Connor Hellebuck. The Winnipeg Jets are 60 minutes away, 1 win away from winning the Stanley Cup Final. Can they do it right here in Game 4? First period is scoreless. The second period is not. The Jets have the lead. John Carlson scores 43 seconds into the period, but from there, Ehlers ties it, and with 34 seconds to go, Andrew Kopp gives Winnipeg the lead. The third period is underway. The Jets are 13 minutes away, but Lars Eller has tied it, and Brett Connolly gets his first of the postseason. What a turn of events as Kyle Connor scores again. It's tied at 3. Connolly with the goal finally. Kyle Connor strikes, and Joel Armia scores again. We are 1 minute and 8 seconds away. What a third period. Again, looking back at this game, the Jets had that 3-0 lead in this series. A scoreless first period. John Carlson gets the opening goal of the game. Ehlers and Kopp make it 2-1. Eller ties it. Just a few moments later, Conley gives them a 3-2 lead. Kyle Connor scores a few moments later to tie it up at 3. And with 3:18 to go, Joel Armia strikes. It's a 4-3 lead for the Jets as they have a chance to end it right here and right now. Can the Winnipeg Jets end this series? 1 1:08 to go. 1:08 on the clock. Can they end it now? Can they win the series right here and clinch the Stanley Cup? Let's find out. The 2018 Stanley Cup Final, Winnipeg and Washington. Here we go. Face-off is won by Winnipeg. Actually, it was 1:18 to go. I thought it was 1:08 to go. Dustin Byfuglien carries over the blue line. Circles back, Byfuglien to the point to a wide-open Trouba. Back to Byfuglien. In front for Brian Little, who scores! He beats Braden Holtby 5-hole. And the Winnipeg Jets are 1 minute and 5 seconds away from winning the Stanley Cup. Brian Little, who's had a tremendous postseason, gets the pass wide open from Byfuglien. He's in front. I'm not sure who missed the coverage there. Hopefully we can get the right angle. 44, is that Brooks Orpik? That's Brooks Orpik. No. Poor Brooks Orpik. At least I think it is. If not, it's Niskanen. But I'm pretty sure 44 is Brooks Orpik. Little with the goal. 5-3 for the Jets. Washington pulling the goaltender. Alex Ovechkin carries over the blue line. Turns it over to Scheifele. What a heartbreak this would be. Kuznetsov misses just wide. Ovechkin recovers. 52 to go. Kempny back for Backstrom. Now Kempny again. Backstrom in front for Tom Wilson. The shot's blocked. Ovechkin wins it back. Ovi to Kuznetsov. Now Carlson back over for Ovechkin. To the point. Kempny as the Caps are looking for space, but they're running out of time. 35 seconds to go. And now down by 2. Kuznetsov. In front for Wilson, somewhat in front, more like the slot, it's fine. Wilson recovers, shot is stopped by Hellebuck, 25 to go. Josh Morrissey around the back, it's Tyler Myers. He finds Blake Wheeler. Turns it over, Wheeler recovers though. Carlson battling Scheifele. Scheifele gets stick lifted, Carlson looking for space. And the Jets are going to get called for cross-checking here. It's Mark Scheifele going to the box with 13.8 seconds to go. There was that battle with Carlson. He's called for bumping Tom Wilson. An interesting penalty call there. Will it cost them? It would take a miracle. Here we go. The Washington Capitals finally get past the second round. They make it back to the Stanley Cup Final for the second time in history. 10 seconds to go. Only to be swept by the Winnipeg Jets. The Capitals are out. The Winnipeg Jets are your 2018 Stanley Cup champions. I feel so sorry for Alex Ovechkin, who makes it past the second round, makes it to the Cup Final. The Jets sweep the Caps. Patrick Laine, Nikolai Ehlers, Matthew Perreault, Connor Hellebuck. I know I'm naming Matthew Perreault over some other bigger names on that team, but Matthew Perreault delivered. The Winnipeg Jets are your Stanley Cup champions, dominating, decisively winning every series, unless I'm forgetting a certain moment. What a run for the Winnipeg Jets. The Stanley Cup will be shrouded in a whiteout as Ovi leads the handshake line. What a run. I cannot wait to look at the stats. Laine and Ehlers, though. What a 1-2 combination. The insurance goal from Brian Little pretty much took away any ounce of drama that the final minute and 18 seconds could have had. Patrick Laine, looking like a true Viking, is your Conn Smythe winner. 21 points, 10 goals in this postseason run. You couldn't have had a better option, a better guy to win that. My only other suggestion would have been Ehlers or Hellebuck for his play in the Cup Final. I wish I could see Hellebuck's play just in these final 4 games alone, because he was absolutely incredible. But there you go. The EA Sim does not lie. The Winnipeg Jets will be your 2018 Stanley Cup champion. Blake Wheeler, I love you. And honestly, this is a beautiful sight, as Blake Wheeler will raise the Stanley Cup in Winnipeg. Dreams do come true. The Jets are Stanley Cup champions. Now my question to you is, how do you think the 2018 Stanley Cup Playoffs will pan out. Are the Jets your pick? Who is your pick? Let me know down in the comments below. But also, as I mentioned at the start of this video, alongside this upload will be my predictions on the NHL Bracket Challenge. Feel free to check out that video to see if I agree with what EA, or what the EA Sim shows us, and has showed us what will happen. Do I agree with EA? And hey, if you view that video and you disagree with me, don't forget, I have also opened up a league on the NHL Bracket Challenge. It is free to join. Feel free to see if you can top my bracket. And I'm sure at least a couple of you will completely agree with what EA said, and I'm going to laugh when you end up winning said challenge. So guys, I thank you for hanging around with me. I am going to get you a final look at the point totals for both Washington and Winnipeg, but I thank you for being along with me on this journey. I didn't think this is how I was going to handle the video, but I'm like, screw it, let's give it a shot. I had fun. My voice almost gave out on numerous different occasions. Look at Bufflin's face. My voice almost gave out on a couple, and Liney's face as well. The voice almost gave out on a couple of different occasions, but damn it, I had fun with this. I hope you guys felt the same way. And again, let me know down in the comments, how do you think everything will play out? Better yet, join the bracket challenge and tell me, show me how you think the playoffs will pan out. But the Winnipeg Jets have done it. They are your Stanley Cup champions. Let's get a final look at the stats. Again, we know that Laine led the way. He was your Conn Smythe winner. Ovechkin led the entire postseason in points, 24 points in that run. We'll look at Washington first. Kuznetsov had a great postseason. Carlson as well. Overall, though, the GOAT might just be Brooks Orpik. Especially, I mean, no points. One of two players, both defensemen, to have no points. Braden Holtby had a spectacular run with a .932 save percentage in 20 games, 2 shutouts, but he fell just short as Connor Hellebuck finishes with a .924, a 16-2-2 record. An incredible run for the Jets. 21 points for both Laine and Ehlers, 18 points for Kyle Connor, 18 for Matthew Perreault, the 15 for both Little and Scheifele, 12 for Myers, 11 for Wheeler, 10 for Paul Stastny. No goals for Paul Stastny. Amazing, really. Armia had some clutch goals as well. So did Morrissey. Trouba with no goals. Tucker Pullman even had a goal, and no goals for Toby Enstrom. So there were only 3 players on the Jets that we did not list off. I don't believe Trouba had any of the star performances, or Paul Stastny. But there you go, guys. That'll do it for this one. This hour-and-a-half plus adventure is over. I thank you for checking out the video. Again, let me know what you think on both videos. I'll see you guys next time, and let's hope this is wrong, because we all know the Bruins are going to win the Stanley Cup.